everybody. Welcome to My Opinion Movies. This week we continue our worst of the previous year month with yet another Spider-Man-based debacle from Sony. Madame Web is awful. We'll get into the numbers and everything in this, but oh boy is it bad. As I'm speaking, it's on Netflix, so you can watch it if you want, but just gird your loins. Anyway, thanks for doing all you do to keep us relevant and on the charts. Thanks for sharing and retweeting. And if you haven't yet, check out the link tree and follow us on TikTok and everywhere else we are. YouTube as well. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Welcome to Myopia Movies. This week, we continue some of the worst of the previous year in honor of the Academy Awards. Yeah. Oh, yes. So we're talking Madame Web from 2024, which, my God, yet another bomb from the Sony-Marvel partnership. I'm your host, Nick Hoffman, and on panel we have...
Keiko.
Charlie. Nor. Atlanta author Matthew W. Quinn, who thinks this whole movie better in as a flashback sequence in a Spider-Women movie.
It's what it was supposed to be.
True.
This is supposed to be the prequel to a Spider-Women trilogy, but this did so poorly they pulled the funding. By the way, for a movie that doesn't star Spider-Man,
Yes.
how many men are wearing spider outfits? Like 15 of them. Because we have the Arachne at the beginning.
Yeah.
We have the villain who's dressed up like the Venom Spider-Man.
That's true.
Right? Like, and our four heroines never end up actually wearing the costume. It's only in one crazy man's fever dream.
And what's crazy is, like, during the promotion of this movie, because it's a very recent movie, they was heavily just showing them as the spider people and the costumes and things like that.
Putting lied.
They blue balled us.
I thought that there were going to be boobies in this movie.
Interesting. Why?
I don't know. I guess because Sydney Sweeney's in it.
Exactly. And that's the only way this movie got marketed. A Sydney Sweeney movie.
Let's be fair. It's because Dakota Johnson, who is our lead, she plays Cassie, said in the original marketing stuff that this movie's terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
You gotta love her because she gives zero fucks. I mean, she really, really does.
Dakota?
Yeah, completely.
Now, for those of us who don't know,
Yes.
who is Dakota?
Dakota Johnson is the actress.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
she is
Not-
she is
no, no.
the ultimate Nepo baby.
Yes.
Okay. Her grandmother was Tippi Hedren, who gave birth to Melanie Griffith,
Yep.
who married Don Johnson.
My man.
They gave birth to Dakota Johnson.
Yes.
And then, of course, Don Johnson's out of the picture, still her father, but was partially raised by Antonio Banderas when Melanie Griffith remarried.
Yes.
Yeah. Nepo baby.
He just started in 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, I was about to get to that. He was in that movie and is taught, well, this movie is bad. So here's the
I
thing.
feel like 5 of them now.
There's a whole bunch of them.
Yes.
Well, but there's only like 2 or 3 with Sydney Sweeney in them.
Oh,
Like-
Sydney Sweeney's in 50 Shades?
Sorry, don't go to John Fan.
Gotcha. Because then I might watch it.
Well, here's the thing. Dakota Johnson's actually,
Something just occurred to
well, Dakota Johnson's a really good.
What character is? What a character? Sorry.
me. Just move on. Oh, gosh, I'm going to turn your head.
So, Dakota Johnson's actually a really good actress.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
No, for real.
I call her a Nepo baby, but the truth is she's good.
yeah, they
which-
can either be good or not. Right?
Yeah.
Like, they can, yeah.
And everything that she's been in, she's actually been very good in. But some of the things that she's been in haven't been quite so amazing.
Okay. Yeah, I don't really know her. Actually, my husband had a theory about this movie.
Oh, did he watch it with you?
No, but I stopped watching so many times, and I was like venting angrily to him that I was having to watch this movie. I was like, this movie is so stupid.
Yeah.
And so he said that he believes that Sony has to make these movies and keep these movies in production to like keep the rights to Spider-Man. And so he thinks they don't even care about the quality of what they're putting out as long as they're meeting that like requirement to keep Spider-Man.
So let me ask each of you a very interesting question.
Yes.
This movie, what genre movie do you think it is?
Good question.
It's a superhero movie.
Okay. Superhero movie. What do you think,
No. We're gonna do you last.
Okay.
Nor, what do you think?
It's supposed to be a superhero movie.
Matt,
Superhero movie?
No. See, here's what I think it's supposed to be.
tell me.
No. I think it's supposed to be this. There's a new generation of movies that are just ripping off Chris Nolan. This is a Chris Nolan movie where there's no linear timeline, the rules don't matter, and the points don't matter. And in the end, we end up in a bullshit movie.
Okay, that's interesting.
So
It's a style, but it's not a genre.
Okay, so
We can't go that deep.
what is your genre?
What I think, I'll say what I think the genre is.
What is it?
Teen slasher.
Yeah,
So-
there has to be. It's always more.
When I
They need two friends then that die though.
so my thought was not
New York
slash
as this character.
of how to fix it, but I feel like what this should have been was a girl movie, like a
It
a
is?
girl clique. It's not.
They don't like each other.
There's only a couple of scenes where we really see like girls being girls. One of the notable ones is like the diner scene.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's fun, it's cute, it's engaging, it's funny,
Britney Spears
it's
is in it, yeah.
predictable, but that it like if it had more of those things of these girls, like what if we got like one scene of them being in high school and being kids? Like
We do have one with a girl who flicks Cassie off.
Yeah, that's ambulance, New York.
But you know what's funny? What you're describing is the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, right? Because we have the scene with him and Flash Thompson, we have that along, we have the rivalry between him and Flash. Like, but and I'm not saying you're wrong. I agree with you. But the fact that these are three strangers on a train,
Literally strangers on a train.
yeah, that are then
Well,
brought together by Cassie.
I actually love that you brought up Sam Raimi because this had the feel of a Raimi film.
it does.
It really does.
Now, do you know why?
Well, I think it's because they were trying to lean into the horror aspect, the teen slasher.
yeah, they're getting help
aspect.
running from the monster
So
kind of thing.
when you said that, it's right. And the problem, I guess, for me is that it can't pick a location because you could do an urban slasher. You could do a I'm in the woods Jason style slasher.
Mhm.
You could do the help me, I'm in a diner and the killer's after me kind of scene. But they just go, all right, let's move on. All right, let's move
And
on.
meanwhile,
Let's move
our heroine goes off to Peru for a week while that's
well, Uncle Ben
forgot
is
that
watching.
yeah,
Peter Parker.
yeah, this is supposed to be Uncle Ben. I initially thought they were doing the clone saga because he's so much younger.
No, this takes place. They've stated it takes place in the history of the Sony Spider-Man.
Spider-Verse, yeah. Can I?
So-
yeah.
The same one with Craven, the same one with Venom, everyone else. Morbius. Ooh.
Can I nerd out for a second? Because I feel as if I really get into
On this podcast?
Sure, because the last time when we did Batman '89, I really got into it for a very long time. So I feel as if I should just
Are you really into this movie now?
I'm really into superhero movies, specifically from the Sam Raimi, from Spider-Man, from 2000 and stuff, all the way up to, a drawer fell. I'll do that.
Nick's a Spider-Man. He's got
Oh my God, you have Spider-Man powers.
I was just getting a coast.
I know. I'm not editing this out. For those of you who don't know, Nick accidentally broke his drawer.
and now he's climbing the walls.
Oh my, pump down there.
And someone is saying that's not physically possible, but he's still doing it.
Oh my God, he has a.
That's what they do in this movie is like try and rules lawyer a guy climbing on the ceiling.
Have you noticed that his webs come out from his butt? Very comic book accurate. Anyway.
So nerd out, Nora.
Okay, so essentially, well, not nerd out in the sense of comic book, but just nerd out in the sense of business, which Keiko mentioned. So, flashback 1999, Blade came out.
I feel like I'm in the movie. Flashback.
No,
Flash forward. Flashback. Flash forward.
So essentially, for those of you who don't know, this was all done by Marvel Comics. And at one point, they were super broke, and then they had to sell the rights to a whole bunch of shit: Fox, Sony, Disney, and things of that nature. So this Universal, and so this is just essentially 30 years of business shit. And like you alluded to, they needed to do something with this because the executives at Sony they didn't have any hits after the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man 2 came out.
Amazing.
The Amazing Spider-Man movies, they were just compared to like what was going on with the Kevin Feige and Marvel and such. They couldn't compare. So this was like a last-ditch effort. This movie is a result of how well Venom did. And then they're like, okay, Venom did good. So let's try to do our own little Spider-Verse kind of thing. And then the issue is that with Sony, okay, I'm almost done. They didn't have enough heads to actually storyboard everything and all together. They just had random people come together, push out shit, and therefore there was no continuity. Nothing made sense.
But then what happened with the Spider-Verse? Because that's the same people, right?
Yeah,
And those movies are
animated.
so good.
That's what they did.
So separate. It's just separate. But
Well, okay. And
Is it because there's girls in it? Because if so,
I
me.
also get the feeling the director had no idea what they were
Okay.
doing.
Whoever wrote this,
I looked in the credits. There are a lot of people who wrote this.
Okay, but whoever authored
We got you
most
there.
of this, the initial draft, this is very much a love letter to the Spider Universe, the Spider-Verse, if you will. Okay, it's every single one of these characters and the characters around them are very true to the comics.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, more so than I have seen in any other.
Yeah, the Spider Girls, Madam Web herself are based on comic book characters, but I don't know enough about them other than Web herself. That's because
that's very true.
Yeah,
I only know of Madam Web because of the animated Spider-Man, which was dope, which I can kind of see, like, this was supposed to be the tipping point because she can see all universes, so she can see in the multiverse, and then so she can go to Venom, she can go to this and go to that. That's what they were trying to do. But
she was going to be the thing that links them all.
right, but it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so to make an MCU illusion, she's the goddess of stories. Or if I brought by the Tom Servo rule, bring up something better amidst the heap of crap.
speaking of crap, we haven't done
Talk
enough.
about the synopsis, yeah.
Good luck.
This one's a tough one. Yeah,
No.
if you want to try it, go ahead. But this is a hard one
All right.
to provide a synopsis.
But if we get into the prologue in 1983, so our first millennials were here.
73.
Whoops.
Gen X, baby.
Good start. Okay, so
For this, the movie takes place in 2003.
2000. Okay, I thought it was a bit later. I knew, whatever. The point is, her mom is in the jungle, in the jungle by getting backstabbed by her guide who murders everybody once she has found the spider with the venom that will supposedly give you superpowers.
It's a magical
she
spider.
Yeah, and she gets shot and is taken to like a cave by the mystical native people.
You forgot she's pregnant. And
She's pregnant at the time.
Yeah. And
9 months pregnant, apparently.
yeah, and in a childbirth
And, like,
sequence, it
having
looks like it maybe
contractions.
takes 2 minutes.
Mm.
She gives birth to our heroine after being bit by the spiders. This is Girl Blade.
Ah, yes.
She got, instead of being bit by a vampire, she got bit by a magic spider. 20, yes, exactly.
30 years later, because it's 1973 to 2003.
Oh, nice.
2003, our heroine is now a paramedic. And she goes into the water and starts hallucinating. Apparently, was dead for 3 minutes and starts having wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey stuff. Meanwhile, the tour guide, the treacherous tour guide, has become rich and powerful. And keeps having nightmares of the 3 spider women someday murdering him when he's old.
Because he can see the future.
So
They're only in his dreams.
so he,
So Raven.
after banging the information for the NSA's Bush era spying machinery
I forgot about that.
and hiring this hacker chick he starts stalking them to get them all there in high school so they don't someday kill him.
So paranoia.
And Candy decides to help them, and we get a lot of, to quote the great Doctor Who, wibbly wobbly timey-wimey stuff,
Yeah, that's
which
That's pretty much it.
we did really great.
I
Does it?
went in expecting it to suck. It eventually did suck. The beginning wasn't so bad, but then again, I went in with very low expectations.
I will disagree with you because I was like mad from the very beginning.
What's too?
Like
Yeah.
from the very beginning, the dialogue is just so annoying. Like, but you're pregnant. Like, okay, thank you for telling me. I never would have known. Like,
And she's taking
And-
pictures of spider webs, guys. For signing around with an old Nikon going,
and then I think she said one sciencey word that was like, I don't even remember what it was. It was peptides, and I was like, she doesn't know what a peptide is.
because later Dakota Johnson's like, oh, the thing about the peptides.
Why does a spider biting you give you superpowers? Spider venom is supposed to kill you. Dude,
Because it's stupid. Because it's magic.
Spider-Man.
Well, but in regular Spider-Man, isn't the spider like
Genetically
science?
modified, yes.
It's a radioactive
So
Spider-Man.
this spider, like a mommy of that spider, or is
We're led to believe
You don't. So people on interwebs who care enough to actually think or
yes, I fully
In the
understand.
society of spiders, essentially, I'm not going to go into it.
But I didn't mention why I got mad yet, really. So the peptides thing started it.
What is
then-
peptide?
It's like a nutritional. I don't know.
you can get it.
I didn't.
I don't know. You could mix it in with your creatine and get Spider-Man.
So it's known,
Nick-
and it's no one in the movie really knew either.
I mean, literally, it's just a chain of amino acids. Like,
Yeah, it's like
you
food
have
thing.
hundreds of them. Like, it really does not matter because it means magic in this movie.
Yeah, she could have said an amino acid. Like
Peptide is a short chain of amino acids. Oh, nice. Linked by peptide bonds. What the fuck's a peptide then?
No, peptide bonds bond peptides together. That's all it is.
Okay.
Don't.
Science.
all right, he's trying to look it up. So while you do that, I'll go on to the second thing that made me mad. So we went from like the crazy spider baby thing, and the guy's telling her, "Hey, your baby's gonna do great things. She's strong. She's gonna have a hard life, but she's gonna be fine." Like whatever. And then we cut to the guy in bed with the girl, and he has the nightmare of the 3 spider girls murdering him. And he wakes up and he's like, "I'm so tortured." And I got the impression that scene was supposed to be like, he's not that bad. This is why he's doing it, is because he doesn't want to get murdered. But like, he's a bad guy. We just saw him do super bad stuff. So like, I don't care that he's going to get murdered. Like, don't be a bad guy if you don't want to get murdered. Anyway, that's all.
No,
It was
we
me-
can talk about the jungle scene forever. We could talk about it for an hour because it's literally like
Well, he had a valid point. Not to shoot her, but, you know.
Oh, and then he's like, spiders. And what I looked at the stupid spider people that live in the trees.
Yeah.
That, what did he say that they
Yes.
that do something about men?
Punishing bad people.
Punish.
Him.
Yeah.
I thought he said men though,
He's
specifically.
like, well, this is 73, so maybe men just meant people in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, but okay, you're missing the point.
What's the point?
She's looking for a fucking spider, and it looks like the Sam Raimi. It's a blue and red spider. It's wearing the Spider-Man outfit. And he's like, "Hey, look, I found the fucking spider." And he goes, "Ha ha, I'm evil," and shoots her because of question mark.
Yeah.
Implications. Because I'm going to become rich. I grew up poor, not like you Nepo baby. The whole thing is yelling at Dakota Johnson for being a Nepo baby, by the way. And then this man who is wearing the Spider-Man suit comes out of the sky to save her. And by the way, this is not a heroic scene because she later we're going to get to Dakota Johnson as an EMT who's like literally saving people's lives. And she actually should have died saving this man's life from a car. We'll get there. But this guy is completely computer animated. Just picture
You know what it reminded me
of? Buzz through the tree.
It was Twilight.
It is. He runs like the Twilight vampire.
He does.
And she has no weight because this CGI, if this is the final draft, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
And then we cut to 50 spider dudes just hanging from the ceiling, looking down. This is also a vampire scene. They're just looking down at her in a birthing pod. And then spiders come and bite her on the tit. And we're like, oh, this is a powerful movie. At this point, I was just yelling at the screen.
Yeah.
And we're 4 minutes into this 8-hour movie.
Yeah, it was also too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got 50 spider super people, and you can't run down the dude who murdered 2 people and the third person dies later.
Hey, you know what they could
On your
cut?
territory.
The entire baby shower scene, because why did
Emma
that
Roberts.
exist?
Emma Roberts?
Yeah.
No, Peter, both of you are right.
Yeah.
It was
Set
adorable.
setting it up for future movies.
Yeah.
I also want to say, how stupid is it? We don't
Wait,
actually see
is
her.
that Peter Parker?
Yeah.
Yes.
because, yeah.
Well, they
Mary and Richard Parker.
Oh, Ben.
Mary and Richard Parker are Peter Parker.
I've been calling him Ben Wyatt the whole time.
I know, me too.
Well,
Okay.
that makes sense.
And Ben Parker is Richard Parker's. It's funny that they hint at a lot of stuff, but then they also don't like give you the completion. Like Ben's like, I found this perfect woman, and they didn't name her. It's May.
It's insane.
It's that myth.
Which Spider-Man is this a prequel to? Is this a prequel to Garfield?
If it is the Sony universe, it's supposed to be Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But it's not going to because we're never going to get there.
Because Emma Roberts supposed to be a spy.
She is.
But she's also 9 months pregnant. How spy-y can you get?
The other lady was in the freaking jungle.
Remember her husband
Yes.
was off internationally
Yes.
when they dropped the kids off at Ben and Mary's.
I forgot. Oh, no, that was in the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Yeah.
Okay. I also just add, how stupid is it we don't actually see her find the spider? She just shows up within a specimen jar. Like, look what I found. You're just like,
I found it.
I had the first 8 minutes are her trying to find this thing, and she finds it off screen. Like,
And how? As a small-ass spider.
but that's just the point. Like, this movie doesn't know what we care about.
Yeah.
And it's just filming stuff. Well, apparently on set, they were changing the second, third act while they were filming. And you can tell. You can tell. Because this thing is just, it's held together with spider web.
I would be very interested to know what the original story was.
I bet you it probably followed a Marvel line very closely at one point. Like, it would make sense. This is a classic origin story.
Well, can I ask y'all this? Did y'all, no one paid to watch this? I mean, we probably saw it on Netflix. You say from Netflix. You saw on Netflix. Okay.
No, it's on Netflix.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
I refused to pay money to watch
And by the
this
way,
movie.
if anyone saw this
That's
in
for you.
theaters, let me know, because it was in theaters for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, that Venom movie was there for like months and made almost $1 billion globally.
Yeah.
This, you would have had to be there day one, because I don't think it lasted a week
It
in
was
that local.
so hyped up, though.
Yeah.
This was very highly marketed.
I wanted to go, but by the time I got around to it, it was gone. And by the time I got around to it, was a week later.
Yeah.
So Dakota Johnson, she hosted SNL supposedly to promote this movie. And the one thing that she did say was she's like, I'm in Madame Web. Sydney Sweeney in it. Isn't she so hot? And that was the only reference to that movie. And that's the only thing that she had. Again, it's just heavily marketed. And
Well, I seem to recall there was like a interview, a late night television. She's like, the original script I loved. The movie we ended up making is not the original script.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, you can tell this was cut to ribbons.
Yeah.
Because again, you introduce important characters like Ben Parker, who then disappears from the movie for about 45 minutes. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And also, here's the thing. I mean, in the Spider-Man universe, he is set up to die. So fine, you want to use it.
Spoiler.
We've seen Ben Parker die twice.
We've seen him die on screen twice already. And
then Marvel movies hint at it.
well, yeah, because he's the one who gives Spider-Man that great line. Always look both ways before you cross the street.
Yeah.
Yes, that line.
Bros before hoes.
That's right.
Yeah. You know.
Peter, bros before hose.
With great power comes a really big power.
Well, if Uncle Ben was on Facebook, he'd say, Peter, Mary Jane has too much baggage. Get with the superintendent's daughter.
No, he would not. They all like. Well, anyway, regardless, I will say too.
I got you off track there.
No, you did, and it's fine. I don't know where I was going.
Well, where we're headed in the movie, now that we're past the frustrating opening setup,
Yeah.
now we get 50 minutes of confusing time flashes for the main character to realize that she has like a psychic power.
So her psychic power came by her near-death experience.
Right. Her and you're right. I just think of him as this character from Parks and Rec.
No, Ben
But
Lund.
him and Ben, her and Ben rather, are rescuing a man whose car is teetering over the edge of a bottomless pit in New York City, I believe, in Queens. Your classic New York City bottomless.
Get out of here. I'm walking here.
That's right. Hey ho. Slice of pizza. Empire State Building.
Giuliani. Let's get some. It's 2003.
He was out of office by 2000.
Let's get some chopped cheese.
chopped cheese. Yeah, chopped cheese would be good.
Oh.
Okay.
Yes.
But she is
Teetering car.
Yeah, they rescue the guy, but she ends up trapped in the car as it goes into the water. And while that's happening, in what is maybe the stupidest effect,
Huh.
the windshield is like spiderweb. It's cracked.
Yeah.
And then it pulls away like the spider webbing from Spider-Man. And I'm like, no. You can't expect me to take this scene
But
realistic.
did you notice there was like a big S?
Yes.
It's like that's the only thing. I was like, oh, for Spider.
The more you talk about it, the dumber this gets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was furious.
The more you watch it, the dumber it gets.
Unfortunately, I'm not going to see it again, so I guess I won't be exposed to terminal dumbness.
Yeah. Anyway, so what happens is Ben Parker jumps in and saves her. But what we get instead is like the beginning of like Fight Club or X-Men. Like there's all these veins and this glowy stuff. And there's literally the glowy umbilical thing
Like a balloon of some kind.
from Donnie Darko. It's the shot from Donnie Darko. But she's...
Donnie Darko.
You should.
Previous episode, Donnie Darko.
Yeah. But you're right. It's the balloons and all that stuff. And it's all CGI. The character's not on screen. She's looking at blood on her hands like she's Lady Macbeth. And then it turns to dust. And we're like, I have no idea what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And you think that the movie would explain it. And it kind of does. But when you go on for this long with the flying S, for example, which turns out to not be a Spider-Man S or a Superman S, but the S from a Pepsi sign in the third act. Pepsi is all over that movie.
Pepsi and Blockbuster.
Oh, wait, was
But
it
Blockbuster's probably already dead.
Yeah.
Well, that was how they showed that it took place in
2003.
Yeah.
And there was still a flock.
Flip phones and
That's right.
yeah.
That's right, millennials.
Yeah, there's 9/11. Nothing. There's no Twitter, or else this whole situation got even weirder.
Oh yeah, that could have been prevented. And using CCTV. Yeah, dude had his own little bat cave. Oh, excuse me, spider cave.
Dude, it's the Oracle from Batman is what it is.
Yeah.
But, and
oh yeah.
I was texting Matt when I was watching this, very mad. It's also the scene from The Dark Knight where Batman uses the cell phone signals to see where everyone is all the time. There's just the bank of screens.
Yeah.
I think it's Fox is looking at, right?
Mm-hmm.
He goes,
Lucius Fox.
Lucius Fox. He's like, I'll use it to defeat the Joker, but then you got to destroy this. You've got to promise me you're going to destroy this. And just like the NSA did. Yeah. Moving on.
This 2003, you've got some War on Terror W angst going on.
Oh, 100%.
But do you think that's where the nostalgia was trying to come from?
Oh, yeah, that's what we were nostalgic for. George W. Bush.
The only scene I felt any kind of nostalgia was the diner scene when the girls were being silly girls and dancing on the table to Britney Spears' Toxic.
That's the human moments that we don't
That's
get
the only thing I liked.
Well, that movie that
we do have
a few times.
Well, we do have
And again.
Dakota Johnson watching a Christmas movie in the spring or summer, which you didn't like.
Oh, no, that's stupid as hell. Because the whole thing is she's seeing her past, her present, and future. What other movie does that? A Christmas Carol. Why is she watching it in August? Who knows? But she's watching like the old black and white one that I'm forgetting who stars in it. But it's like the one that's in the public domain, so they didn't have to pay for shit. Or maybe it's Sony. Who knows?
Well, Charlie, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
You seen Sucker Punch? Was it Sucker? No, it's not Sucker Punch. What was the movie? The other
Sucker Punch is awful.
Nuts. Was it Sucker Punch? Where there's a female? You're thinking 3 female leads? Not Kick Ass.
Jawbreaker?
You're thinking of Sucker Punch.
I'm thinking
though,
of Sucker Punch.
which is, for those of you who don't know, Sucker Punch is I forget who directed it now.
I
Is
think-
it Zack Snyder?
Zack Snyder.
Yeah. Okay. So there are these women who are in some sort of orphanage, and as they're being sexually assaulted, they have fantasized that they're actually in old movies, right? That's what it is.
Yeah.
And so they're like in World War II, and then they're superheroes. It's not a very good.
So Sucker Punch or Madame Web?
Which would I watch again?
Yeah. Oh, I'd watch this one.
Really? Because I could sleep through it.
Okay, I feel you.
This movie seems a lot less rapey.
I never saw that movie.
I guess I didn't see the whole thing. Yeah, don't see it. No. But well, no. Okay, you mentioned why did they have the baby shower scene? Well, it was the first to begin.
Well, now that I know it's
powers.
Peter Parker, like,
Well,
yeah, obviously.
But also, it showcased what Madame Web's powers is that I don't know, time stoppage or sense of
They
let's
did
say
that
future PS.
several times.
And character
Not
moment
with-
that she's got awkward.
Yeah. Well, I think I have to admit you don't like it, but I thought it was amusing because
It's cute.
Dakota Johnson was actually sort of funny in that scene.
I will say I was reminded a lot of myself and like how awkward I feel. This is basically like how I feel at any like social event. It's just like
Baby showers?
yeah, just like that level of awkwardness. Like when somebody asked her a question and she had a whole thing in her mouth and she just took it out. Like, that's something I would do.
Mike Epps is in this movie. For those of you who don't know, I don't know what Mike Epps movies you've done, but
Actually, my first picture that I have with my husband
was with Mike Epps.
No, was at a dinner party, a work dinner party of his, and somebody was coming around and they were taking pictures, but they didn't like warn you. They just came to the
Yeah.
took a picture. I was eating a steak and I had a huge mouthful of food. So I just put it in my cheek.
Having seen
my first picture with Chris.
What are you supposed to do at work? Was it an open bar?
I don't remember. Probably. Yeah. Why?
Well, I mean,
Could I have just been drunk? Would that?
no. Well, I take full advantage of work parties. If for those that are like the Christmas parties and stuff.
Do with your drink limit.
Yeah, good for them. Yeah.
Well, I don't want you to throw out your back, ready.
No. Oh, oh my God. I don't know whoever's work party it is. If it's open bar, I'm going to go. I'll be someone's plus one, especially if it's like a big company. I'm just going to sneak in. Yeah.
Oh, there was another time when I met at some whatever work party that was a relative, and I was at the buffet and I was just chatting with the person next to me, and somehow we got on the topic of like cord cutting, like cable.
Oh.
And I was like, yeah, we got rid of cable because it's pointless. Like we have our few streaming services and that's what we have. And I'm not going to pay for 50 or 100 channels that I never use. I realized that the person that I was telling all of this to was like the CEO of like Fox or something. Like, it was like a big or Fox or so. It was like something big.
Yeah. Oh, he was probably market research. He's like,
I don't know.
the consumer does able. Yeah. Oh no, yeah.
I was just trying to get those little meatballs with toothpicks, And
So there's something. So I guess go back to the movie. I guess the one thing I really did appreciate about this movie, at least they tried to do, is that everything was connected like a spider web.
Yeah.
Well,
all the characters
yes.
came together.
Okay, so
On a train.
probably unpopular, but I enjoyed it. And here's why. Here's why.
That's okay.
Here's why.
It's okay.
I'm happy for you.
I went into it with low expectations because I had heard so many terrible things about it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to have fun. I'm just going to enjoy it. I would say that the acting was really good. Okay. I liked the acting.
Whose?
Dakota, Sydney.
Okay. People. Yeah.
Celeste. I mean, the guy playing Ezekiel he was pretty. Bless his heart.
And great hair.
Yeah, and you got Adam Scott in there.
He's great.
Random Emma
Roberts.
Emma Roberts. Is out of the blue. The
Okay.
acting was solid. The acting was good. Okay, it was fun at certain points. If you think about it as a couple of teenage girls trying to not get murdered, running around, it's sort of fun.
So if this didn't have the nerd aspect, what people wanted, if this was a standalone film, as in like remove Spider-Man in the whole thing, you know what I mean? Like, I see what you're saying.
I mean, it's sort of like think about movies like Jennifer's Body, and stuff like that.
The old MTV, the Teen Wolf,
the old like fun teenage horror movies.
I got you.
Of an age of 2003. Like this movie, like took place in 2003 and captured the feel of a teenage horror movie from 2003.
I feel that.
Very Final
I
Destination.
know what you did last
I know
weekend.
what you did last whatever.
Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah, it just had that vibe. So I accepted it. The problem is that it's very clear, as you pointed out, that they rewrote it multiple times and it came out to be an incoherent mess. But here's another movie that became that was an incoherent mess. Donnie Darko.
Yeah, that's right. I heard the director's cut's good. I just love trolling y'all. I know it's not good. Just okay.
All right. don't know how to respond with that, so I'm going to move on. I agree with you, Charlie. Something that bothered me though is the scene where the three of them are in costume and we have, I don't even know who all they're supposed to be, but is the best scene, and we never see them do that. Like at the end, Sydney Sweeney never throws a punch, except for in the fantasy, which turns out to not matter. Like they have to establish the fact that these aren't futures that are set in stone. To quote A Christmas Carol, which apparently she's watching, are these the shadows of things that will be, or only may be only? Because we have the bird that smashes into the window, and then she checks, it's not there, but she opens the window, so the bird survives. So we know that the future can change. And that's what happens at the end of this.
The Spider-Man, the Arachnus Spider-Man guy told her that she was the only one that can change the future, though. That nobody else can change the future, but that she is the only one that can change it.
So, but his future changes. I guess technically she changes it?
She changed it
Okay.
because she kills him.
She does.
She does murder him.
Well, she does straight up murder him.
I mean, in the comic books, Cassandra Webb is the caretaker of the web of life and destiny.
That's a really good story. It's a beautiful story.
I mean, it's very much she's actually some of the elements that they brought in. I mean, the fact that she had the actual Cassandra Webb from the comics had that degenerative disease. I forget the name.
Myasthenia gravis.
Myasthenia gravis, whatever. She had that specific thing. And when she's initially brought in, she's like an 80-year-old woman who's hooked up to a chair because she can't move because of her disease.
Right.
But she's totally psychic warrior, and she sees all the possible futures. She guides Spider-Man, etc. Okay. The three girls that they bring in, which I'm absolutely amused by this detail. Julia Cornwall, played by Cindy Sweeney. She's supposed to be Julia Carpenter. But here's the interesting part. Cornwall is the maiden name of Julia Carpenter from the comic books. So this is like the fact that they brought in that level of detail. Yeah. Like it's mentioned like once or twice in the comics.
What do you think that was the added detail?
So there's a ton of those.
So like, do you think, so the original script, as you alluded to, the Dakota Johnson said that she really liked.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, but how are we going to tie this into all this other shit?
Spider-Man enough.
Exactly. Because the Spider-Man shit came really at bits and, if you really think about it, even the beginning was probably like, oh fuck, we needed to do something to connect with Spider people. No, we don't have Spider, because like the level of like, as you mentioned too, the Twilight coming down, like I felt like that was so like Lifetime movie, low budget TV movie type esque, and the rest we have a lot of good CGI, trippy scenes and kind of things. So like the amount of post production, the amount of fixes that had to go, even the ending was kind of like forced if you got to think about it. You know what I mean?
The ending is strange, and we'll get there. They're all called Spider-Woman? Anya is Spider-Girl.
Anya is Aranya.
Right.
Okay, that's her superhero name.
And in the Spider Universe, she is Spider-Girl, or she?
No. In the Spider Universe, in Marvel Comics, Anya Corazon is Aranya. Okay.
Little Spider.
Okay. Maddie Franklin is Spider-Girl.
And then Julia Carpenter is Spider-Woman.
Julia Carpenter is Spider-Woman. Later, Julia Carpenter becomes Madam Web.
I want to be.
It gets complicated.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something that you have to deal with, because there's always going to be a fan who wishes you did another storyline.
Yeah.
And so this is a nice synthesized combination. And again, this is the first movie that the woman who directed. Perhaps she was in over her head. I also get the feeling that this movie was studio noted to death, because like this is definitely direction by committee, because I could not tell you what this woman's directorial style was. Well, whatever it is,
you actually just said, for real, you actually just said it. She was a first-time director. Yeah. Usually as a first-time director, studios want that, because they're like, oh, they'll listen to us. Because a lot of times, especially in these movies, a good example, if going. I don't want to nerd out, but like with Thor: The Dark World was the second Thor movie.
Right.
There was a huge conflict between that director and they just ended up parting ways and such. So and she ended up, I forgot who the director was, but she ended up directing like Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 1980. But they want these first time directors because they can sway them into like, hey, if you want to keep fucking working with us, you're gonna put these notes in. And what you said, there was a lot of post production shit because the studio interference, and she just had to accept it.
It's possible. I mean, I mean that was my first thought just looking at this film, because I mean we'll get there, but like, the guy who's the villain, who we really have talked about in secondhand terms, the actor is named
Tara Rahim.
There you go.
There we go.
And the character is Ezekiel Sims, but like he wears a black suit that's. I want to know how many spider people Ben Parker saw before Peter Parker became Spider-Man, because it seems like a lot. And frankly,
Wait a minute. Well, he never got to see Peter be Spider-Man.
that's true.
No.
But
R.I.P.
regardless,
Ben. R.I.P. Ben. With great power comes great.
question mark.
Yeah, sure. So actually, the one thing
Great power. It's pretty cool.
No. Actually, I do want to talk about the diner scene that we keep alluding to, because that's probably key.
Which scene?
The diner scene.
Okay,
I think
so
it may have been my favorite thing.
Well, actually, we got to get to that. So yeah.
I would love to, Nora.
So
Like we mentioned before, Ezekiel Sims goes to the opera, seduces this woman who works for NSA, wakes up from his nightmare where he's murdered by 3 like saucy teenagers. I mean, they don't do anything to age him up, so they just look like their teenage selves. He wakes up in a cold sweat, poisons the woman that he's in bed with the neurotoxin.
There was something else that pissed me off about that scene
That
too.
he somehow can exude.
No, that when he asked for her password, she gave him just like random letters and numbers, and he didn't ask her if they were uppercase or lowercase. And that really bugged me.
At least they didn't have two. This is 2003. So they didn't have two-factor identification.
Well, it's 2003. It should have just been password 123 and then move on.
did y'all have Wi-Fi in 2003?
Not really, barely.
No.
You did.
No, Wi-Fi was a
Well,
thing.
it was there, but I might have been like
Normal.
I don't think I got it until like, I mean, okay, I had
I
dial-up.
don't think so.
No, most people had,
2003.
Oh, yeah. Well, around 2003, yeah.
I didn't have.
I had like a dial-up, the AOL, the IM.
I mean, we just had.
In
Yeah,
2003.
the phone. Yeah, 2003. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm desperately trying to catch up to the scene you want to talk.
My bag. I got caught. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. The password thing. That was one of the notes.
I'm sure it was. I believe you, because she's dying and she's giving this man a password. And he goes, "I'll give you the antidote," and he just lets her die. But whatever. He has a nerdy assistant who uses that to track the 3 girls in his dream, and his dream is so vivid that he can describe these girls good enough for the NSA computers to find. Around here's where we do get the baby shower scene, but they are called away because there's a massive fire at the finale. This place is a tinderbox, is going to go up at any moment, yada, yada, yada. But this is where she realizes that she can use the future to try to save things, because this is where her chief gets killed in a car accident.
Chief O'Neill.
And she sees the blood on her hands, the Macbeth scene. Fine. Why all of this is coming together is the 3 girls that best match his dream all seem to be at Grand Central at the same time, getting on the same train. He happens to be outside Grand Central for some reason. And so he gets aboard right as Cassie ends up on the same train. She sees this creepy man who, because now the movie becomes almost unfollowable, but he is seeing, like, she sees this man with kind of a salt and pepper hair come to the side, breaking women's necks as she goes down the train, and then it resets. And then he breaks a different woman's neck, and then it resets. And so Cassie, realizing she matters here, needs to save them somehow. She essentially kidnaps them, takes them off the train. The train takes off. He waves a finger at her. And this is where we see evil Spider-Man for the first time.
He must have had his costume in his backpack or something, or that's giving this movie too much credit.
You did the Superman thing.
Yeah, the Superman thing. It's under his clothes. But this matters because we now have our villain. She steals a taxi, gets them on board, and they drive out into the woods. And this is when it becomes a Jason movie, right? Out on the campsite, she's like, "I'll be back in a couple hours. I'm just going to leave you behind." They get hungry. And they're like, look, half a mile down the road is a diner. Let's just go to the diner. They go up to the bar. Turns out that Anya is wealthy, independently wealthy because of reasons.
No, Maddie.
Maddie is wealthy.
Anya was.
I just remember there's a line. You wouldn't like me when I'm hangry.
They do the Hulk line.
Oh, the Hulk line.
They do the Hulk line.
Well, I guess. Oh,
You sounds so traumatic. You blocked it out of your memory.
I tried to block a lot of this.
there's a lot of this movie. Yeah.
And again, there are moments of this that are fun, and them being teenagers is that. Like,
Well, they all have a nice, cute backstory. You know, Sydney Sweeney, she shows us
Why
the story of the step
Maybe
they had.
that instead of
And then one of the girls is I think it was her grandmother was sick in the same apartment building. And then wait. And
Anya is the undocumented. Her father got deported.
Yep.
And Maddie, of course, is the rich girl. Which another fun little detail. She said, "I can call my Uncle Jonah and he can get this resolved."
right.
In the comics, J. Jonah Jameson
oh,
is her
funny.
is her uncle, and a uncle like figure that she moved in with for a while.
Right. And I mean, here's the thing too.
Oh, Jay Johnson. Sorry.
Anything for a J.K. Simmons cameo would have been great.
Right.
But I mean, do what they do in the video game where he just has a podcast or a show. Like he's on the radio. He's Bill O'Reilly or something. It would have been fun.
Yeah, they all have backstories. That means no one's going to notice them missing for a while.
Right.
It's also 2003.
And they never have their powers, which matters because I believe Maddie gets her powers when they were doing a wizard ceremony with.
Getting into these three, one of them's a mutant. One of them got them from experimentation, and the other one, like you said, got from a ritual.
Yeah, with Osmond.
Yeah.
Osborn. But
Yeah.
like, I'm glad they didn't do it. However, I would have liked them to act heroically in some way.
Yeah.
You know, like stand up for yourself, throw a punch, try to do
I think
something.
in the final fight in the
Yeah.
MacGuffin explosion building, I would try and stab him or brain him with things, but don't really.
They
see
could have
that.
done that final fight better, I think.
I mean, this is a guy who gets thrown into buildings repeatedly and seems fine. So them actually connecting with him a couple times would not have been a problem.
But they should have done more of that because again, she will get her power from a wizard ceremony or whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
But it would have been nice to see her act heroic. We see them so confident later. To see a little bit of that confidence would have been nice.
For
But
a
we do-
movie that exists for foreshadowing, there doesn't seem to be very much foreshadowing.
There doesn't. And even Cassie, who becomes, I mean, she's Madame Web. She's blind and kind of this mystic character. She, at the end, they give her a costume that's reminiscent of Nichelle Nichols in Deadpool. You know, she does.
It is.
But like, we should talk about the diner scene because it is interesting. They're at the bar ordering all the food you can imagine, which again, I remember being a high schooler and going to a diner and just ordering food upon food.
Oh yeah, you got that check, Waffle House. Oof,
Dude, if you spent $20 at Waffle House in the early 2000s, you'd eaten 10,000 calories. I don't know what to tell you.
But the amount of times I had to listen to Britney Spears talk. I'm not mad. I love Britney Spears. I don't want people to come after me. But after like the third time, yeah, it's enough. It's enough.
It's one of the few songs they probably had the rights to pretty easily.
How much did you have to pay? That's very true.
I wonder if it's not on Sony.
I was gonna say
No.
probably a Sony
Yeah.
produced song. Yeah,
of course.
and also it's 2003. Wait, the Toxic come out in 2003?
I bet you that's one thing they did check.
Hold on.
Yeah, it seems like that's too late for Toxic, but I don't know.
We'll see.
Even if it was too late, it would be fine if it came out earlier.
I bet you it's 2003, guys. But
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure.
why did you like
Fucking
to see?
2003 on the dot.
There you go.
It was a song of the summer, man.
There was like, what came out in 2003? Where we have the rights to.
What's weird though is that in the movie they were like, "This song is going to be big." Like it was like they were treating Britney Spears as like an unheard of, like an unknown person.
Please.
So I'm like Toxic, and yeah, at that point she was not. I was allowed to.
90s was hit me one
That
as a more time.
That was comeback.
I wasn't allowed to listen. My sister wasn't allowed to listen to Britney Spears, and I wasn't allowed to watch Britney Spears music videos, whatever, and stuff like that. Because
Yeah. Suggestive.
adjusted
Yeah.
things. Yeah, sure. Yeah. What did she shave her head?
Look it up. 2001.
No. I was like 2015.
Is that when they put her under a conservatorship?
2009.
I think she was
I'll
always.
go
I
2000.
mean, I don't know, but
I mean, she was a teen pop star. Her life was
2005
not
is my
great.
guess.
Anyway, why did you like
7.
Why did you like the scene, Keiko?
Why did I like? I mean, it just was an encapsulation. It was just a cute little, like, that's what I liked, was seeing the girls be girls and have fun
And flirt with the guys in the booth, and they were dancing together. No, I agree with you.
Yeah. Well, but even before that, like, their dynamic, like, walking there, like, I just think that the movie did not spend enough time focusing on these girls. I feel like they should have spent more time with them and less time doing, like, weird
Spiders.
mystical stuff.
Yeah.
Leaned into the R teen slasher.
And I guess,
Yeah.
I guess for that reason, that's why it's your favorite film, in the way connected to why Charlie says that he likes the film. No, hold on, I'm looking at cute and finish his thought, dude.
Seeing somebody's favorite film?
No, you see,
You said,
you said Philly.
He meant scene.
Scene. Thank you. It's your favorite film. Excuse me.
I mean, not favorite. I just enjoyed it.
There we go. Well, it's in that element, you know what I mean? Because, like, I think in that sense, it's just like what you liked and what.
yeah. And you like the Spider-Man stuff.
And well, I guess the horror aspect to the slasher, to your point, was kind of cool. Like in the train scene beforehand, or even when he comes up, breaking everybody's necks, comes to the diner, car comes through. That happens. After like 3 different times, because her powers is trying to like relive that situation over and over again. It's very Groundhog's Day.
I know it feels like very stuttered, but I liked the way they portrayed her powers. I thought it was very seamless within the scenes. You understood what was going on. The minute something bad happened and then she snapped back, you knew what was happening.
I agree. I just think that they did it too many
I'm
times.
glad you're here.
Okay, that's fair.
That was my complaint. I was like, okay, so we've got 50 minutes of her figuring out what her power is. Like, we get it. We know.
Well, so much wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff.
See, I would disagree. I would edit out. No,
You want the whole movie to just be.
no, I just don't like the villains stuff. I mean, if they were just being like, if we have this establishing shot at the beginning of her looking through her mom's stuff, and we see her with the dude,
Mm-hmm.
and in the diary it says she found the spider, and that's the last entry of the diary. And then the whole time, it's just this weird Spider-Man guy. He really needs a different costume and not look exactly like Spider-Man. And that's the whole thing. And she starts doing the time back and forth. We don't need 45 minutes with a villain no one cares about. But again, they're mirroring the Sam Raimi thing, where we know all about Norman Osborn being fired, or I keep saying Norman Osborn getting fired by the board, stealing the equipment, becoming the villain, fighting his son's buddy, and then like pulling off the mask, and they see who they are. Like, I don't care.
Don't tell
Just show me the villain. Ezekiel's is just a magic spider person. Fine. That's more interesting, because then we would have more time to learn about the girls. Then we would have more time to learn about Cassie.
I think that the outfit, the spider outfit for Ezekiel is a forced thing, probably notes, because the scene where he's walking through the train, where he's got the suit and the white shirt unbuttoned and no shoes, no socks.
Right.
That is classic from the comics.
Right.
That is Ezekiel Sims from the comics.
Mm-hmm.
Right there.
Like a business suit. For some reason, I was imagining him in his spider suit, but with a
No,
dress.
it's just a business suit with the white shirt open a little bit.
Yeah, I got you.
And no shoes, no socks.
Yeah.
That is classic Ezekiel Sims from the comic book. I think that later they added that costume probably to like make it seem more spidery.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
And again, like,
Because it sucks.
And all the tribal people in the jungle have the spider thing going too.
but you know what they should have done then? They should have just made his suit the inverse, all black with red veins throughout it. Just something, because then at least there's something inspiring him.
When she goes back to Peru.
Do you want to talk about something that doesn't need to be in this movie? Like, because again, I'm interested in the fucking spider women, right?
I mean, the fact that she's a freaking psychic, that could have all been done through a vision.
It could have. And
Well, most of it was done through a vision.
then why did we go to Peru, guys?
Yeah, maybe the Peruvian guy.
Oh,
She left those girls alone. Well, I mean, I guess they were under supervision.
It's her work buddy, her colleague. And again, it's
With her white buddy, his pregnant
What
sister.
could go wrong?
And
a sitcom breaks.
yeah, they could have had. I told Nick this reminded me of a TV show I saw on UPN when I was probably in elementary school. Called The Sentinel.
UPN.
With this guy. He was living in the jungle with his Indian tribe and learned like super senses. And he came back to America. He was a cop. So eventually, I think one of the tribal people comes to New York.
Gryffindor's tribe.
okay.
It's called The Sentinel. Look it up.
If the one your episode, Gryffindor's tribe, dude.
And so
Did this come out if there were homeboys in space?
yeah, so one of the tribal people could have come to New York City because in The Sentinel, one of them actually does. Like I knew this was happening because I got the psychic powers too.
Oh, so you mean from jungle to jungle then? Which is
Okay, yeah, but I
Wait, have we ever done Jungle to Jungle?
think we've done jungle.
Yes,
it's Chevy Chase with Tim Allen.
That's the Tim Allen, Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
No, it's a
Jonathan
other
Chase
guy.
Hayes.
I don't know the
No, yeah, I
guy's
thought it
name.
was.
Another
really, yeah.
90s precocious kid.
Because that kid made me. That's the only white boy that made me cry when someone left.
Not the main character of Jungle to
There we go.
Jungle.
We're thinking about Manny, that place. Man, how
Chevy Chase. Okay,
Jungle
you think it could be another precocious kid movie?
a different white kid with
Which-
good hair.
with one of my favorite. So he went on to be Being Human. He was the werewolf. There was the vampire guy, and this guy.
Yes.
I can't remember this name.
Sam Huntington.
Is that
Sam
in
Huntington,
Jungle?
yeah.
But he's in one of my favorite teen romp movies, Detroit Rock City.
He was in Detroit.
Oh
Rock
my
City.
gosh, I
Very good.
love that movie.
Yeah, so this would have been better. It would have been better if instead of going to Peru, which she may or may not be a kidnapping suspect at this point.
So she was.
so
Yeah, that's why she had the kids.
so going on a plane would be unwise, and this also saves some time.
Well, I don't think they know who she is. But it would have trimmed down this movie a little bit.
It was also have to take a week off of work. Yeah, so it's best just explain.
Yeah, and this is
She fly.
and it's post 9/11, and she can go to Peru and back from New York that easily and quickly and efficiently.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
weird. That's a big plot hole.
Yeah, for real.
Actually.
They fucking have to.
You could drive a truck through it. Hong Kong.
Yeah, but it's also a movie about spider people, so I give it some grace.
As
Also,
people
didn't
would have
even-
said in 2003.
Does she have a passport?
I'm sure.
Maybe.
Who cares?
Sure.
Movie magic. Movie magic. But how did she get there? Why don't we see the plane? I mean, guys, come on.
We saw the.
She can see the future. Which of these things is the most unbelievable thing?
That she got to Peru.
But he didn't even ask uppercase and lowercase in the password. He would have been trying. Do you know how many variations of that password that she gave with all those letters? And
He's got
not knowing
he got
good place.
some hacker chick helping him, I guess.
First of all, what language they speak in Peru? Spanish. I needed to get specific because there's different dialects.
No,
It is
Peruvian.
is it
Portugal. Portuguese is only in
just
Brazil.
Spanish?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
South America is Spanish. Yeah.
How the fuck she know Spanish? And she went to a jungle in Spanish without a guide.
I'm going to go ahead and guess that as an EMT in Queens, she knows a little Spanish.
She probably also did Duolingo because her mommy was up.
Exactly.
Here's some.
They didn't.
This is a She watched the Muzzy tapes like the rest of us did. I'm also going to just talk about
shots for layer shots, yellow fever shots. No shots. They just let her in. First of all, that's
Rise.
Hey,
I might have
those are dollars. You got to get those American
Okay,
dollars.
again,
You're thinking about it. Yes.
she's a precog fighting with a guy with proportional strength of a spider.
These ain't the droids you're looking for. That's what y'all saying to me. That's how she got to Peru.
We haven't.
She's psychic. She's psychic. And okay, does she make it back to has she made it back to New York?
It even implies that she travels in time with her psychic.
Why didn't
powers.
she just
Yes.
do that?
She just learned how to save a fucking pigeon. You think she could fucking
She can manipulate.
So somebody call all those people who didn't like Rey in the Star Wars movies, and we'll do that.
Yeah.
Saying she's Mary's kid.
This bullshit would piss us off that much.
And I mean, the only thing I will give to what Noor's nonsense is, which is funny to me, is she apparently flies an international plane, then to a bush plane, and then to a bus, and then she just finds the one guy who's like, I remember your mother. I'm fucking fantastic. Or we move on. And by the way, we're 75 minutes in at this point. I checked the thing of a 2-hour movie, and that no one has spidered anything yet.
And she gets back to New York, presumably the same way she left.
Yeah.
Just in time for her work buddy's sister-in-law to go into labor, and the kid's been hiding in his house for so long. So, I got what nickname I give Ezekiel? Kyle. At one point I think I called him Kylo Ren.
Sure, why not?
Or maybe or maybe the other guy from the sequel trilogy, the fighter pilot, or Elon Musk, or something. He's been looking for them for a week and can't find them because they've been staying inside the house. Now he finds them, and you have ambulance demolition derby.
So what happens is Parker goes into labor, and she goes, I either peed myself or whatever. It's cartoonish. Again, I could use more of the sitcom side of this because it's funny because poor Ben Parker's so all over because these teenage girls are making a mess in his house and they're watching Total Request Live or whatever it is. But you're right. They've been inside for a week because they can't. This is almost like a COVID movie where, like, if you stay socially distant, you're fine. But the second they leave the house, a camera on an ATM machine with good enough resolution to identify her identifies her. Right? I think it's Maddie. It doesn't really matter. But they're driving towards St. Thomas Hospital in Queens, and the spider guy, our villain Ezekiel Sims, realizes, oh, this is where they're going. I better stop stuff. And again, this woman is like evil Oracle. She has her wall of cameras. Actually, 2003. This is like the Matrix, where Rabbit is there hacking and changing shit as he wants, right? But it's maybe this is just for Charlie, but it's that X-Files episode with Seth Green where he can control electricity and turns all the stoplights to green at once, causing a massive accident. And now poor Ben Parker, put upon Ben Parker, is stuck. Until Cassie drives an ambulance from the 4th floor of a parking deck and crushes Spider Guy. And now she is fully in control of her psychic powers.
Exactly.
At one point, I think destroys a billboard.
Drives through the billboard to land and gets Spider Guy out of the sky.
I mean, you have to admit that was sort of fun. This is what I laughed. I giggled.
Does a pea fall on him?
A pea? Not yet.
Like,
that's at the end. At this point, the grenade that is attached to his belt slides under another car, and she totally, or I guess her actions totally kill 3 people in that car, which is funny. But I'm with you, Charlie. At this point, this is where it's fun.
Where it gets fun.
I literally gave like, holy shit. Like, because again, he's swinging in and bam, he just knocks him out of the air.
Well, I have to admit, okay, so first of all, she doesn't have super strength.
Right.
Okay. She just has her abilities.
And the ambulance car.
Well, in the ambulance. But the way that they choreograph this fight, the way they present this fight, it's actually sort of believable.
Yeah.
I like it. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's a good fight.
It is. Well, and again, like, this is a world with super heroes and super villains. Apparently, like, with that in mind, she doesn't have those things.
Yeah.
So how are we going to do it? Well, with the power of an Econo van, right? Like, with a 12-liter engine. Pow!
Yep.
She knocks him out of the sky. And great. Like, there's one thing she knows how to do, which is
the New York out.
Well, then they electrify the van, right? They use
that too.
They use the IED thing.
IED is an improvised explosive device.
AED.
There we go.
The heart zapper.
Yeah.
They at one point electrify the roof of the ambulance and he's climbing on top of it.
Yeah, to fry him off, which is great. Smart move.
And she's able to stay one step ahead of him, which is fantastic.
Right.
I love the way they use her preconditioned powers.
Yes. The end of this works very well.
I'll give it to you, like, even in the comics, I haven't gone that deep. Like, she's just a figure. She's almost like Zordon. She's almost like the commander. She's almost like giving
The guy in the
commands.
chair.
Guy in the chair.
Which she's
normally giving commands, telling people what to do. We don't see her in a very action sense. So I'll give it to you that. It was cool for her to use her powers
Yeah.
to like.
Well,
you know what I mean?
essentially, in the comic books nowadays, all she does is show up and says, "You need to be here, you need to be there, and you just stand there and look pretty." And basically, things happen around them.
Does she look like Spider Daredevil in the current comics? Because in some of the comics I looked at when doing some research, she's basically Spider Woman but blind. Like, she even has her own costume.
Yeah, she has her own costume, and it's
So the where they went with her look, at least in the last 5-6 years, is basically a red leather trench coat and red glasses.
Like,
So she,
frankly, like
Carmen San Diego.
Carmen, better than my example, actually.
that's not. Yeah,
I was gonna say 2003's Elektra.
Well, yeah, no, absolutely.
from the eye doctor, but yeah.
But I mean, they did a really good job of sort of thematically tying Cassie Webb's, outfit to what Madam Web looks like these days.
Well, and going forward, I imagine she would fill the role of another Spider-Man buddy, Doctor Strange would do.
Yeah.
Right. But
Yep.
they don't have the rights in the Sony.
Yeah,
universe
at
to Doctor
at
Strange.
one point they do a Doctor Strange time punch.
They do. And again, they just don't have the rights to it in this version of the Marvel Universe, so why not use her? But unfortunately, since this movie bombed, I don't imagine her going forward.
Well, they essentially, after the recent Craven the Hunter movie came out, they officially stopped all of the Spideyverse movies
Except for the animated
one, but which
it's gotten delayed again, but that's still going to come out.
that's for here or there. The main voice actor of Miles Morales is kind of being a creep.
Well,
For those of you who
so I want him to finish the damn movies before it's going to be the Flash situation where eventually it comes out and no one likes him anymore.
Because wasn't that movie like supposed to be very, very good?
The first two were excellent.
So yeah,
Reputation, like
the first one won an Academy Award for the best animated movie of the year.
The second one
Into
was,
the Spider-Verse.
and then the second one,
The Flash.
The Flash.
We don't
Like
talk about.
I thought
Flash.
that The Flash was actually a very, very good movie, but his reputation.
It depends who you talk to.
Is it okay? Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. So
The problem, okay, you're going to get a lot of mixed reviews because it's based on one of the most famous Flash comic lines, and so people are upset that it didn't follow it as closely as it could have.
Yeah.
And now everyone does alternate timeline shit, and so people are kind of pissed off.
Yeah.
But I watched it. It was good. It was just by the time it came
Michael Keaton
out,
came
it was
out.
just
But
it was.
you sort of knew that the DC universe was on a decline.
Yeah.
and like they had interesting actors doing interesting things, but by the end, like it just fell
What
apart.
is Doom Patrol?
Doom Patrol is the love letter. A love letter
So
of freaks.
It's on native. You should watch it.
Yes.
No, I like the show.
Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
It's one of his roles that
But what
uh,
universe is that?
DC.
DC.
That's not this.
So
No.
okay, so James Gunn. Do you know who James?
No, it's okay. You don't have to tell me.
She has to know. So
Apparently she does.
James Gunn. Do you know who James Gunn is?
No.
So James.
Explain.
So depending on who you are in life, James Gunn, he was the one that for those that might know, he directed the Guardians of the Galaxy. No, because James Gunn has a history of essentially in Hollywood. There was a movie that he directed, Dwight from The Office, in his first superhero movie. He's very much weird, splicey movie kind of thing. He's very indie type. But essentially, he's taking over as the main figurehead of the DC movies now.
The DC universe.
The DC universe, because like Zack Snyder and they try to do Batman, Superman, all this kind of cool.
That's why we're doing a super month next year. Stay tuned.
Yeah, the
So
new Super-
honestly, there is some of the work that he's done, like he's writing and directing the new Superman movie. That's the trailer just came out. There's also a really, I forgot what's the series? Not Doom Patrol. Oh,
Creature Commandos.
Creature Commandos. Have you seen it?
Yes. It's fantastic.
I cry.
Okay, so to answer your question, Doom Patrol is.
Doom Patrol.
It's just a weird collection of characters.
I've seen it. I love that show, but I just didn't know.
It's DC. That's
DC.
Yeah.
Thank you for saving me from my ADHD nightmare.
Here's the thing.
Yeah, thank you. Okay.
It came out in the 70s, 60s, 70s. It was a direct competition with X-Men.
The comic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
It was designed to be
Oh, weird.
It was designed to be weird superheroes.
That could not stand on their own.
Yeah.
And
There you go.
Yep. And every so often they would need a boost, so they'd add someone. No, that's all it is.
And so they give you a whole context.
It's what? The show says 2 years before they hired
This is me fixating on things and wanting people to know everything around it because the show is canceled essentially.
It's got 2 more seasons coming.
Does it?
It does.
Wait, what?
I thought it was canceled.
No. Doom Patrol does not.
Yeah, because
Doom Patrol ended.
Yeah,
It's fantastic, and the ending was good. It was okay.
yeah,
I think we may be a season behind.
maybe. But like the thing is, like you have to watch the Titans almost parallel to it because there's like some mixed up. stuff.
Titans is a little good stuff.
Yeah.
too.
But Doom Patrol, oh my god,
It was good.
Titans was excellent. Well, the first couple seasons, the last one was just.
I'm not sure what that is.
We'll talk about it later.
Okay, I gotta stop talking.
So back now to this movie.
So after Demolition Derby, they lure Kylo Ren to the fireworks factory from earlier in the movie, and things go boom.
Sure. Ezekiel Sims is coming to kill the girls, and they intentionally blow up this death trap to try to get him because again, he has superpowers, including touching people to death.
Yep.
Which is the same power that the Flash's actor had. And as the building is blowing up, again, it's the old Simpsons joke.
No, we all just need a minute.
We need a moment.
Need a minute after.
So now, okay, let's go back. Ezekiel Sims, bad touch. Go on.
Yeah, bad touch. But what they're doing is what you want in the movie. They've been talking about the fireworks factory for 90 minutes. We get to the fireworks factory.
Chekhov's explosives.
And they start lighting essentially like road flares underneath these giant pallets of explosives. And Ezekiel Sims shows up. And just as everything starts to blow up, because now she's doing the thing where she is seeing the future.
Because she can time things perfectly because she has power. She has control over powers.
Yeah, and we're starting to get that.
Yes, into
As the 4 of them are running towards the wall, she says, duck, a firework goes and blows up the wall, and then they're able to escape through the hole, which was not there a second ago, right? Like, and
She
they're
does
tiny.
that cool like with like looks like a pot lid. It's not a pot lid, but that's what I imagine in my head.
It's trash can lid.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a
I
chocolate
don't think
thing.
it was. I think she just had a handle and like
Some metal sheet.
prevented something from hitting them. That was cool.
That's right.
Yeah.
She is called in for helicopter support already because the ambulance died.
She started off with that, so I like that touch where she gets back from the Flash and she calls for the aid,
Right.
and the girls have no idea what's happening, but she knows.
Yeah.
So,
And like this is before she's really a mentor to them, so to speak. So she's intentionally like just saying, "Follow me, trust me, we'll work it out," which is where her character changes at the end. She's a protagonist; she needs to advance. Anyway, long story short, Sims grabs Cassie by the neck and is literally poisoning her. But now, thanks to a lengthy PSA in the middle of this, the girls know how to do CPR. Which they do. He does 2 things which matter here. He blows up the rescue helicopter and he destroys a Pepsi sign, which for I am grateful. We live in the South, guys. We live in Atlanta. We live in Atlanta.
Folkland.
We drink Coke here, sir.
I do like the idea that Pepsi's like, all right, we'll be in your movie, but only if we're in a fantasy about how the movie ends. And they're like, fine, we can do that.
Fairly Pepsi blinds you.
Yeah.
Well, Kylo Ren gets crushed to death by falling Pepsi sign, and then our heroine goes into the river again after getting a firework to the face,
which blinds her. And this is, I guess, where we do see someone being heroic because Cindy Sweeney goes down and rescues her, right? She jumps into the water and saves her. So she does have her heroic moment.
Oh no, a blonde psychic precog that is named Cassandra.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
Like, we couldn't have seen that coming.
Well, no, there was a lot of foreshadowing. If you
Sarcastic.
oh,
That was sarcastic.
she wasn't the eye doctor, and she had the whole thing.
No, it's cliche.
She can
Whenever they introduce a character with precog powers, 9 times out of 10, they're either going to be called Cassandra or they're going to be blind, or in this case, both.
Yeah.
I mean, that happens all the freaking time.
Like explain it because like other spider or just like other.
Just in general.
Okay.
In comic books in general.
Okay.
Because in Greek mythology, Cassandra can see the future. She is gives divine prophecy
That no one believes.
that no one believes. There's also a Batman character named Cassandra Cain who is a psychic as well. Yeah, it's always who it is.
That's always. It is something that has become so cliched.
Yeah.
I
It's
guess
a-
for people who
It's a
the lore.
what was it called? It's a trope.
No, you can't.
Trope.
You can't say that.
Trope.
You can't say trope.
He oftentimes, well, at least when I first started doing these podcasts, he would bring up TV tropes.
No,
all the
he's
time.
not allowed to now.
Yeah, we stopped it because that was his only criticism was quoting TV
Charlie,
shows.
he was trying to go.
Oh no, I've opened that door again.
He's not allowed.
No, what was the
But
no, what was it? It was a certain site. Was it TV trope?
TV tropes.
Okay.
I think there are two: the TV tropes and then the alternate history.
Alternate history. That's the one.
Yeah, I haven't been a member of that site in a while because it was a time suck. So I asked them to ban me.
Well, alrighty then. Okay, so
So she get Ray Charles.
she gets blinded and she gets paralyzed.
How did she get paralyzed?
Maybe hitting the water at the right angle because hitting water.
It'll go into
really
the
hurt you.
details. It could either be the poisoning.
Poison?
It could be
Was it
hitting the water. What?
with the comics?
It was the disease.
Yeah, in the
It was a disease.
yeah in the whole flashback with her mom, she was
Said she had that.
but then she got bit by the spider and that cured it, or at least kept it under control. So either way, she's blind in a wheelchair and is going to be training these girls, I guess.
yeah.
She turns into Professor X.
She turns into Daredevil kind of.
Yeah.
But like cuz they're doing things like bless you a second before she sneezes and all that stuff. But now they're all living together in a deluxe apartment in the sky.
And like the friends.
Moving on up.
I mean, and I also just assume that the rich girl's paying for everything, just like Batman has to pay for the Justice League to sit around on their asses all day. Because there's no explanation. Like, she wasn't being in an ambulance at the time.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're going to pay workman's comp for this. Like, so she's
Don't
just...
worry, guys.
Or the NSA. Maybe she's running the girls for the government. This is like the prequel to Red Sparrow.
Yeah, no.
I mean, they don't even know that the NSA is involved, I think. That's
she
part...
is the NSA.
They just hook her up to a machine.
Right.
Like, she's in some X-Files.
If you want a better movie, there's that one where Nicolas Cage is a legit precog.
I'm going to go ahead and stop you. The second you start a better movie, Cage, just not...
The FBI recruits him to stop a nuclear bomb.
Maybe
maybe
PI.
No.
Sounds like it.
No, you ever seen Knowing?
That's not the Knowing was the one about him. Nope. Kids. That's The Knowing was like almost the Escape to Witch Mountain. I think the one you're talking about, he's like a magician.
Yeah.
Vegas.
And he can be the future. And the FBI gets him to try and help him stop a nuclear
And
terrorist.
Jessica Biel's in it. And it fucking did the Saint House of Our time. It did the Saint, well, elsewhere.
So
it was all a dream.
Nicolas Cage movies, and if we
You
reference
shut
them,
your mouth.
there are. It really are.
So your son?
Knowing is worse than this.
She hasn't seen it.
Oh, you haven't seen the Knowing?
I've seen Knowing, and I dislike that movie. Yes,
It's a sad ending. He doesn't get saved.
the planet gets destroyed.
Yes. And the thing he's predicting by looking at numbers is the end of the world. In Knowing.
What is the one with the Vegas and the Jessica Biel?
Oh, someone look it up. Yeah,
No, absolutely not.
Nicholas
He has 150 movies.
has to pay for these islands and divorces.
So let's end this thing. We're trying to end so badly.
First of all, we don't.
All right, fine. I have, instead of seeing this movie, which isn't very good and it's too long, read the book, The Peshawar Lancers.
Oh my!
There's a character who can do the whole I see every possible future thing.
No, actually, just go to tvtropes.com/Madame Web and just read that. Don't
The movie is called Next, by the way. It's what with Jessica, where he can see what's happening.
Thank you.
Do you recommend the movie, Nor?
The Next?
Or that as a one more trying to do an episode.
Yeah, Matt did it. Matt did his final thought.
Final thoughts. Okay. I will say this: going into today, if Charlie wasn't here, I would just keep bashing this movie. But he did show me the beauty within this movie. You know, would I watch it again? Fuck no. But only because I'm a comic book fan, and me being who I am, I can't have this movie as a standalone. You know what I mean? As Nick alluded to it can help me fall asleep. Now, is this a good movie? To those, as Charlie, yes, but I would have recommended.
I'll do Charlie last because you're a comic book guy. So I'll go and then. So I will say this movie is dumb. I know why it got the bad reviews. There are moments of this that are quite enjoyable, but I think the problem is that there's no connective tissue. If you want to see something like this, any Chris Nolan movie fucks with time. Almost all of them. What's that one, Tenet, where the movie goes backwards at points? Like, that's how you do it. Or Memento. Does the memory thing. This movie, again, just feels like the interesting stuff is cut to a minimum and they futz around with it. So I'm not going to recommend it. But, I mean, I wish there was more good Spider-Man stuff out there because I like the characters. It's just a shame. Keiko?
Are you guys getting ads for or seeing videos about something called Moogloo? Moogloo. It's called Moogloo.
I can't say that I have.
Meat glue, and it's like people are saying that meat is
What's it got to do with Man Web?
well, hey.
She's getting there.
Are you asking someone to focus, Nor? Because that's a bit hypocritical. Yo, you know who James Gunn is?
So what about this Moogloo?
So Moogloo is apparently like a food
Additive.
Yeah, it's an additive that is used to stick like various pieces of cut up meat together to make them into like a steak. But it's not really a steak. It's chunks of discarded meat that are just stuck together with a paste, and that is how you bring it back together, because that is like what this movie is to me. Yeah. There were parts of it that I enjoyed. I am not a superhero movie person, so like I feel like I come to all of them with sort of a negative perspective where I'm just like, oh gosh, another superhero movie. Yeah. But yeah, it was okay. It was fine. Like I didn't really like it that much. Charlie did point out to me that there were a few things that I did appreciate about it, but I cannot really recommend it unless you just have Netflix and I don't know, you like Spider-Man. Yeah, that's all.
Just have Netflix and chill, Netflix and kill.
Yes.
Yourself.
Netflix and swill.
Oh yeah, that's this movie will make you do that.
All right. So here's my take on this. Will I watch this again? Probably not, because this movie breaks my heart. This movie had so much potential. These characters I wanted to see again.
Are you gonna cry?
No, I'm not gonna
I'm
cry.
just saying that's a trend now. We're having people cry on the podcast. It's a new thing. I know it.
This movie will not make me cry, but the lost future of this movie is sad. It really is, because I want to see these characters again. I want to see the world in which they become Spider-Girl, Spider-Woman, Aranya. I want to see that world. Unfortunately, I'm not going to see it.
Right.
All the future movies related to this, and well, quite frankly, anything having to take place in the Sony Spider-Man universe is off the table now. It was a nice idea to lean into, I think, the thriller teen slasher. I think they could have done that a little bit better. I think that several people's points about focusing more on the girls and that dynamic would have been better.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the acting was great. I really love Sydney Sweeney, Dakota Johnson. Anya was played by Isabela Merced. fantastic. She was low key giving me lesbian vibes. I loved it. She was flirting constantly with people. Celeste O'Connor played Maddie Franklin. She was fantastic. I think that they all put in great performances. I'm very sad that the story was not cohesive. I'm very sad that there's no future. So if you are a hardcore comics fan, there's a lot for you to enjoy in this, I think, because a part of my glee was going, oh, that's a deep cut. Oh, that's a deep cut. But really, if I was not a hardcore comics fan, I might look at this like I did the first time I watched Donnie Darko and be like, what the hell did I just watch? And why did I waste my time?
Yeah. Fair enough.
So there you go.
No, and it's funny. Something you said earlier almost made sense. Speaking of James Gunn,
Thank you.
it reminds me of Guardians of the Galaxy. These are characters that most people don't know. You could have had fun with it, and instead you produce something which
Is garbage.
yeah. Because again, these characters don't matter to the rest of the universe. Have some fun, do something big, and then shoot for the stars. At least you'll do. Instead, this is garbage. Anyway, next week is our last of the worst of the previous year month, corresponding, of course, the Oscars this month. And we're going to end this with probably the biggest bomb of the year, Borderlands, starring Jamie Lee Curtis, which I think lost $190 million, not counting advertisement. So stay tuned next week as we ruined last year, I guess. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Myopia Movies is a podcast production of Dude Letter Podcasting and is produced by Nick Hoffman. It is edited by Nerd Trinette and Daniel Suttis and is hosted by Nick Hoffman, with production assistance by Matthew Quinn, Daniel Suttis, and Nerd Trinette. The theme song is Surf Shimmy by Kevin MacLeod from Incomptech.com. Licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 4 license, Creative Commons /licenses by /4.0. Thanks.